I need to ask you a question. If you somehow had £100,000 and that £100,000 came into your possession, would you know how to spend it? What would your first thought be? Would you know how to invest it? Would you buy a new car? What would you do with that money? Let me know in the comments if you've got a good idea as to exactly what you would do, because I need to sit down with you. I need to sit down today, I need you to grab your coffee, and we're gonna go over why people don't have money. What is the psychology as to why they either never get it or they find a way to lose it, no matter what happens. Even when they get promotion at work, start making more money, for some reason, they just struggle to ever keep it, and they always find things to spend, or they always find themselves in these situations where, oh, I would have had that money, but needed to spend money on this, or I needed to get new tires. Does that sound familiar to you? Well, we can't move forward in this episode until we go through the beans. It's not sponsored, by the way, but take a look at this. So I've been trying these beans out for a while, so I feel comfortable sharing them with you. Oh, do you know how strong that is? This is intensely dark roast, clean, smoky coffee that hits hard. Perfect for those who enjoy highly developed roast flavors of berries and dark chocolate. Come on. 100% Arabica, single origin, specialty coffee. Altitude, 1200, 1600. I don't know what the fuck that means, but it's gassing me. Anyway, I watched this video ages ago. It just came up on my feed again. This guy from America, Earl Crawley. So he was a parking lot attendant and he built up a stock portfolio, $500,000. A great video, go and check it out if you haven't seen.
Last statement.
And there it is in his statements, over $500,000 net worth on a parking lot wage. He believed in the power of compound interest and stocks for the long haul, which brings us back to the present. Today, Earl's stock portfolio alone is worth more than $500,000. And yes, his house is paid for. And no, he doesn't carry any credit card debt.
And he was interviewed, I was asking him questions like, how on earth have you got a $500,000 stock portfolio? When you think about it, most people are in debt, don't have any money, and they just find ways to spend it. He dollar cost averaged into the stock market for years. I think it was something like 20 years. And you might think, oh, that's a long time. Yeah, absolutely it is. But what would you rather? Would you rather be someone who's 20 years older, you don't have money, or you do have money? Paid off his house, so mortgage free, lives in a reasonable area, but he's not worried about money. And I sat there and thought, only a very small percentage of people would ever pull that off. Why do you think that no one would pull that off? Well, it's the same reason why I asked the question, what would you do with 100K? So imagine his stock portfolio is now at 100K. Before it got to $500,000, he would have had to consciously resist all of the temptations of, I've been working for years. The car I've got is beaten up, you know, needs new tires, needs new everything. I can justify pulling out 25K and upgrading the car. And maybe at sometimes he did treat himself, but I think it was more really sensible and incremental. Like, it wasn't detrimental to his game plan of his portfolio. And all he did is just like consistently dollar cost average. And I actually think that is the key root of people's issue. It's never an earning problem because most people can find a way to earn enough. But if you don't fix the spending, if you don't fix the spending problem, it'll ruin you. And I think this is such a perfect example of someone on almost minimum wage. If he can find a way to have a stock portfolio of $500,000, then you can definitely put yourself in the top 1%. So we need to have a sit down and discuss this. So for yourself, why haven't you got any money? What do you think has happened over the past 5 years to be the cause as to why you have less money than what you should? Maybe you're in a position where you actually don't have a lot of money, but you're on the right trajectory. So if you're that person where you've gone, do you know what, Mark? I don't really have that much savings. I don't really have too much money to my name, but that's only because I started this business and I've been investing my money into it every single day, and I'm just keeping my head above water because I'm doing everything that I need to do, and I'm just waiting for that time for it to happen. Fine, I fully respect people like that because they're going all into whatever that craft that is. Maybe you're someone who's learning to trade and you're putting all of your money investing it into learning, into funding, or whatever it is. Fine, you're on the right track. But what about the people that have never started anything. Don't you find this? This is what I noticed. Growing up, I would find the people that don't have money, even if they got a promotion, so let's say they was earning like 20K a year and they get this upgrade, now they're earning 25K a year. I would find they would have the exact same money at the end of the month, every single month, even with an extra £300 a month to play with. And I'd always find that interesting as to why, like what changed from like month one, getting the promotion, to month two. And do you know what it usually is? People just find ways to spend it. I've done a video about this on the channel ages ago about financial thermostat, and essentially we always regulate back to the same temperature, as in we always find our level. And if we've not worked on our identity and we've not worked on who we want to become and built the habits, we will always come back to that. But without getting too into that, I think there is another part that people miss. Don't you find people always have like a birthday, an auntie's anniversary to buy something? There's always something. There's always someone that you've got to buy for, and it's usually the people that don't have any money are finding ways to get it. And a simple way that you can do this, like I'm not saying never buy your nephew or niece a present, like they're kids, do what you need to do. But I've just observed this of different friends and family, is that they're struggling to scramble money around to all buy presents for each other. And quite often, I don't know if this is in the UK culture or if this is like universal, you guys can tell me this, but they're asking each other, what do you want for Christmas? Or like, what do you want for your birthday? And I thought that's crazy to me. Like, isn't the whole point of gifting a gift that it's meant to be a surprise? Like, isn't that a slippery slope when you now have to buy for like 17 people throughout the year because of this person's birthday, this person's that, but then equally, you never got any money. That's wild to me. There are other ways to celebrate people's birthday that doesn't always require big presents or going over the top. Meanwhile, you haven't even got your shit together. Like you haven't got good habits. You don't have any money. So you have no business buying birthday presents for every single family member that you've got. So that's just like one thing. And even if it's not a birthday, right? I don't want to go too off on a tangent on that. It will be something else. So it will be conveniently, oh, your tire's blown, so now you got to get a new tire. Or you need to go to someone else's wedding and they happen to have a color code that you need a tux instead of a normal suit, then you got to go buy that. Don't you find the average person that is not wealthy yet or not rich always has these things that they conveniently get to the end of the month, they're like, oh great, I've got extra £200 left over, let me put that to good use. Absolutely not, you got to go buy this now because you got to go to this event. There's always something happening to you for you to spend it. How weird is that? What if I was to tell you, you attract this shit into your life? Now, because you might have sat there and thought, you know what, Mark's right. That's always happening to me. And you think it's not your fault, but it is your fault. And the moment that you take responsibility for it, the quicker it will disappear. Because I've tried this on friends and lots of people I know, and it's worked almost every single time. I said, have some agreements in place. I'm not saying never buy anyone a gift, but just have some understanding, as in like, look, when we do Christmas, we do this. When we do birthdays, we do this. Because I'm trying to save some money. I think most people, when you speak to a family member and just communicate that you're trying to save money, they seem to understand that. You do that, you will find yourself not being in these situations. It's like if you're in a negative framework and you're in a negative spiral, don't you find that you attract more negativity? Exactly, right? So if you're in the wrong frequency and you're in the wrong state, you're in that state of lack. And when you're in a state of lack, what happens? All of these situations that usually wouldn't happen to you seem to just fall on your lap, where there is another reason for you to spend money and never have it. It's another situation where you're not stacking any cash in your bank. So that's one element that most people will never tell you this. And this is something I've just observed over the years when I just see, why have people not got any money? And then I look at the other side. I want to prepare you for the future when you do start making money. Lifestyle inflation. Look at the gentleman that built the stock portfolio. He didn't increase his lifestyle. He could have justified at any point, like, I'm not saying never upgrade your life, but think of the mental resilience that this gent had to go, I've now got a stock portfolio that's $250,000, fancy a Corvette. Could anyone say no after all of that discipline? They would justify it. They'd be like, yeah, he's worked his ass off. He's constantly showed up. He's done it. But he still was able to see a bigger picture because he had a plan to pay off his house and then build that stock portfolio. Now, I know exactly what's happened to this person because I see it with a lot of wealthy people. It almost becomes addictive, but it's a healthy addiction, because it becomes addictive in a way that you see a bigger cost to everything that you spend, because you see the opportunity cost in not compounding it. And that's another reason why people don't have money. They don't value compounding. So like, imagine you're in a scenario where, I don't know, you want to get some concert tickets, or you want to go somewhere else and it's like $1,000. Then you want to pull that, and you don't have $1,000, but you have it in like a stocks and shares ISA, or you've got it somewhere. There's quite a bit of a cost now to you to pull that money out, spend it. You now don't have that money, so now you've got less money compounding. So it almost feels more costly than the $1,000, because there's the opportunity cost that you don't have that cash now making you money. It's interesting, right? Because then you would ask me, Mark, well, when did you ever live? I get that, but there are milestones that you need to hit first. So the whole point of, you want to live this life, and you're wondering, what is the psychology of money? Why don't people make money? Is because they're not willing to delay that gratification of the things that they want now for a long enough time to get ahead. They never get enough momentum to be in a position where their money is working for them. They're always working for their money. That really is the reason why they don't have. Like all of the other things that I said about like events and birthdays, these are just like minor distractions. So that's one thing you got to think about. But then even when you start making money, you have to think about not upgrading your lifestyle when you're in a position that you can. So it's like everything you've ever worked for, you're now there, and you still have to say no. So the people that tend to keep money and get money, from what I've seen anyway, is they go, do you know what? I want this money to work for me, so I'm only going to treat myself a little bit. And the ones that don't understand it, they treat themselves a lot. So someone who's smart, shrewd, and sharp will go, I'm driving a Nissan Micra. I had a Nissan Micra. And they'll go, oh, I'm going to get a Golf. Someone who isn't will go, I'm driving a Nissan Micra. I've always ever wanted a really nice car. I'm going to go get an Audi S5. And it will just be this car just because they want it. Like, well, do you really need that right now? Like, are you rich yet? Are you wealthy yet? Or are you even close to it? No, but I can afford it. I've always wanted it. So again, so what you told me is you make decisions emotionally just off your desires, and you actually can't think logically, and it's all about you. That's why you haven't got money as well. That's another part. You're not thinking about anyone else. You're just thinking about your own self. And you might be thinking, well, Mark, why would I not think about myself? You can, but it's not going to make you successful. So if we sat down, we're sitting here having a coffee, and you're saying, Mark, in the next 6 months to a year, or let's say by the end of 2026, I really want my life turned around. You've got to start building the habits now. So there's the question you've got to ask yourself, is it an earning problem or a spending problem? What do you think it actually is? Do you think it's an earning problem? I think it's a spending problem. And like you can see, I know these are niche examples of, there are not thousands of examples of people building a stock portfolio earning minimum wage. I get that. But what about the people that don't earn minimum wage and still have no money, always in debt? No matter what, they find ways to spend their money. No matter what promotion, they find ways to spend it. It's because they've not built good habits. So if I was you, I would do this, because you're probably wondering, like, well, Mark, what do I do then? Well, it's really simple. Firstly, you've got to go through all of your bank statements. So important, because you need to objectively look at your habits as a different individual. I've done a workshop on this. I love this type of stuff. I'm super passionate about it because, and I say this to a lot of people that I teach how to make money via the financial markets, which is, if I only teach you how to trade, I see that as I've failed you, because we've already got the stats. That it doesn't matter how much you earn, if I don't help you fix those habits, you're finished anyway. You're fucked. Because you could be earning $250,000 a year, and then let's say I didn't see you for 5 years. Statistically, you're probably not going to have any money because you've not fixed the habit. So what I would do is this, if I was you, whether you want to learn to trade or you're just someone on the rise, you're a young entrepreneur and you just want to get some good financial literacy, do this. Simple. Go through your last 12 months of statements. Now imagine it's not you and it's a friend, and a friend asked you, can you just go through my bank statements and tell me what you think is not good? And then your friend is saying to you, I really want to, fix my spending. I don't want to waste money on garbage. I don't want to waste money on things that I could really do without. Maybe I could just make at home, or, eat at home, for example. What advice would you give me as someone who wants to save money, invest money, and get ahead? Can you have a look at it? When was the last time you even audited 3 months of your bank statements? You've probably never done it before. So you need to be brutal with it. And I'll just do 2 columns. So simple. Get 1 column and put non-essentials, and 1 column and put essentials. So write this down, it's really important. Once you've got the 2 columns and you've got the statements, you're gonna see behaviors that are either good or not. And then you get to objectively look at that and say, £128 a month on Costa coffee. Is that a good idea? Could I make coffee at home? Are you trying to go out of your way to just live luxury? It's like, yeah, but I need it. You know, I always need my coffee. Why? I think you need to be rich. I don't think you need to be buying takeaway crappy coffee. You need these beans anyway. These are the best beans. But you can make this shit at home. Like, there are certain things that you can do that isn't getting you ahead or not. Like, so for example, whether you drink instant coffee or you drink the best quality coffee, that's not gonna be the catalyst as to whether you become rich or not. But if you're spending £200 a month on coffee takeaways and you're not spending £200 a month on investing into yourself, who's the fool? You're contributing towards the bottom line of a big conglomerate, yet meanwhile you've got no money, and that you probably sit there and complain about the fact that you've got no money. You see how insane that is? So I need you to be brutal with this and go, right, this weekend what I'm doing, I'm grabbing a coffee, funny enough, but you make the coffee. And the thing is, on the coffee front, I don't mind if once a week you go out and buy a takeaway coffee, you meet a friend, and that's part of the ritual. That's fine. I'm never saying never spend. The problem becomes when you do it every day and you've got a horrible habit where it's like coffee, alcohol, vaping, smoking, you name it, you go through the list. You're like, do you know what? I'm really terrible with money. None of this shit is helping me move forward in life. The difference between someone who's shrewd or not, they'll go, do you know what? I'm not going to do this every day, once per week. And guess what? The rest of the money, they'll save it, they'll stack it, and they'll put it to good use. So you now need to start seeing the money that you've got right now. You need to fix the shit that you've got right now and get your house in order before you start thinking about, what am I gonna do when I have £1 million? You've got no idea what to do with £1 million. I'll be frank with you. You've got no idea what to do with 100K, because if you can't manage your finances when you don't have much at all, how on earth do you think you could tell me that you're gonna manage your finances when you start having money? How you do one thing is how you do everything. I'm telling you this now. I wish someone sat with me, had a coffee, and was like, Mark, I'm gonna make you rich in the next 10 years. It's so simple. Fix these habits, do this. I don't care if you only earn 40K a year, 50K a year, 60K a year. In 10 years time, you will have a lot more money than you think. Like, really, surely it can't be that simple. It is. Guys, if you haven't seen already, I've started a newsletter. I've been posting bi-weekly so far. It'll probably move to weekly soon. So go and check it out. The link is in the description. I've essentially just been dropping some gems of things that have helped me on my entrepreneurial life, whether it be trading, mindset, like you name it, I'm dropping it in there. These are things that I wish that I had a short read that was straight to the point, that would give me practical tips that I could use straight away. I would have loved to have something like that. So if you haven't already subscribed to the newsletter, I think you'll really enjoy it.